by the Lord of sea and sky. I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to them? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
I'm the Lord of snow and rain. I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone. Give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my word to them. Whom shall I send?
Here I am, Lord.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Some days things just don't go well. Some days it feels like everyone is picking on you and nothing is going right. Have you ever felt that way? I know I have. On those days, it can be hard to talk to God. Let's look at what Psalm 13, verses 1 through 2 says. How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts, and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me? Did you know stuff like that was in the Bible? The writer of this psalm is pouring out his heart to God. He actually dares to question God. Have you ever felt that way? Maybe some days you wonder if God is around. Some days it might seem that God has forgotten you, forgotten me. Some days you wonder, how long will you have to feel this way? Let's read what Psalm 13, verses 3 through 4 says. Look on me and answer, Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. And my enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. Wow. Again, the writer is saying how bad his life is. His enemies are winning and he is losing. And his enemies are happy that he's losing. So things seem pretty bad. So where does the writer go from here? Let's read Psalm 13, verses 5 through 6. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me. Wow, that's quite a change from the beginning of the psalm. Even though the writer is feeling like God has forgotten him, he realizes that he still trusts God. Plus, he is going to sing praise to God because he realizes that God has been good to him. That's pretty great. I wonder if we can do that too. We don't use the word lament very much, but there are lots of laments in the book of Psalms. A lament is when someone tells the sad things that have happened to him or her. Lamenting is something everyone has in common. We are all sad sometimes. The laments in the Bible show us that we can tell our sad thoughts to God. In Psalm 13, verses 1 through 4, the writer writes about his sadness. But then he remembers that God is really with him, even when he doesn't feel like God is there. Listen again to what he says in verses 5 and 6. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me. By adding verses 5 and 6, the lament changes from focusing on sadness to focusing on trust in God. Psalm 13 helps us know that we can bring our sorrows to God, and it also helps us remember God's promises to us and God's love for us. Sometimes when bad things are happening to us, as they are right now to so many, we lament too, just like the writer of the psalm. But other times we might feel sad about things that are happening to others, to people in our family, to people in the world. Many people in our own world, and even in our own city and community, neighborhood, are having a really hard time. Some of them don't have enough to eat or a safe place to live, or justice or peace, or parents who love them, or Some are sick, and maybe someone that you love or someone you know you love has died. Some people are lonely and don't have any friends. Do you know people in your community or your neighborhood or even in the country right now who are lamenting? I do. Think about those people as you hear these words again from Psalm 13. How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me? Look on me and answer, Lord my God, give light to my eyes, or I will sleep in death. And my enemy will say, I have overcome him, and my foes will rejoice when I fall. But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing praises, for he has been good to me. We can pray for other people who are sad because God hears us whenever we call to God. Saying Psalm 13 is one way to do that. Psalm 13, the lament. Those laments that are written for times when we are sad. You might not think that people in the Bible felt sad sometimes, but they did, just like you and me. Joseph was actually one of those people, and you can read his story in the book of Genesis. He had 11 brothers, but his father, Jacob, loved him the best of all his sons. And most parents probably don't say that they love one child more than the other. But in this case, Joseph's father made it pretty clear that he did. He even gave Joseph a specially made colorful coat. Well, Joseph's brothers were angry that Joseph got special treatment, and they didn't like it that their father liked him best. Joseph also had dreams, and dreams where his brothers were bowing down to him. Joseph's brothers were not happy about this either. So they made a plan to get rid of Joseph. One day, Joseph, or Jacob, sent Joseph out into the fields where his brothers were watching over the sheep. And Joseph wore his colorful coat. And when his brothers saw him coming, some of them said they should kill Joseph. One brother suggested instead that they put Joseph in a pit and tell their father that he was dead. So that's what they did. When he was in that pit, Joseph probably felt pretty sad and angry and upset and frustrated. He might have said some words of lament. Think about Joseph sitting in the pit and how he must have felt, being betrayed by those he thought would love him, feeling isolated and alone. But the story of Joseph doesn't end with him in the pit. His brothers sold him and he was taken to Egypt to work as a slave, and things were bad for Joseph for a long time. Maybe he often called to God using the words like those we see in Psalm 13. About 1/3 of all the Psalms are laments. These Psalms show us that we can bring our grief and sorrow to the Lord. One church I served a while ago completed a very long study of the Psalms. And we discovered that the Psalms of lament often resonated the most with us because we found comfort in knowing that God hears us and weeps with us. This concept can be difficult to talk about maybe with children, but it is an important one because they have sorrows too. We don't want to send children the message that God only wants to hear good things from us. This particular psalm begins by asking God, how long will we have to put up with this current bad situation we find ourselves in? We don't know exactly what was going on when David wrote this psalm, but he might have been suffering from some illness, such as seeing, like verse 3, give light to my eyes or I will sleep in death. But whatever the problem is, David does not talk about it right away. Rather, he talks about God hiding his face and David wrestling with his own thoughts and his enemies triumphing over him. It's interesting that the idea of David wrestling with his own thoughts is so prominent in the psalm. When we're ill, many of us find ourselves worrying about our symptoms that we might have and imagining probably the worst case scenario and the worst outcome. Perhaps David was doing the same thing. But this psalm, as with most psalms of lament, has a turn, a place where the psalmist recognizes that God is still God and deserves praise, a place where he realizes that God has not forsaken him. And in this psalm, the turn happens at verse 5. And this is a good reminder that God's presence in our lives is not dependent on how we feel. Children often lament, but it can be a challenge for them to express what they feel sad about. I'm not suggesting that you press or spend extra time getting at all of these things, but these psalms can help provide words for children to say what is on their hearts in a safe and caring environment. So as you read other psalms of lament, children and adults might find more comfortable ways of caring and for each other by reading the psalms together. They might find comfort in those verses 5 and 6, reminding them that God really is with us, even when we don't feel like God's there. This is not the only psalm that starts with a lament and ends with a praise. All the laments in the book of Psalms except one, Psalm 88, changes their focus from lament to praising or to thanking God. So today, when so many things are going on and so many laments are being expressed, let us open the way of communication to God. Let us express how we feel. Children and adults and youth and whatever age we are. God is willing to listen and wants to listen. But then, let us have our turn. Let us turn our laments into praising and remembering that Christ and God are with us. Amen.
Today's worship service carries a special significance as this is Pastor Tracy's final Sunday as our pastor. Due to COVID-19, she will not have the customary Sunday for our congregation to say goodbye. Therefore, on behalf of Love's congregation, Love's friends, and neighbors, we take this opportunity to thank Reverend Tracy Shumpert for her pastorate at Love's and especially for her efforts to blaze a new frontier for the church by establishing a new YouTube channel for online worship and special presentations. Her efforts in these recent months of unprecedented and challenging times have allowed us to continue to meet for worship and connection. Tracy, our congregation wishes you much happiness in the years ahead, and we have surety that God will always hold you in the palm of His hand.
You who dwell in the shelter of the Lord, who abide in His shadow for life, say to the Lord, my refuge, my rock, in whom I trust, and He will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under his wings your refuge, his faithfulness your shield, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. You need not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day. Though thousands fall about you, near you it shall not come, and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. For to his angels he's given a command to guard you in all of your ways. Upon their hands they will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand, and hold you in the palm of his hand.
May God the Father, our friend Jesus Christ, and the power of the Holy Spirit be with you now and always. I want to thank everyone who has helped bring their talent to these services on YouTube and Facebook during this time when we were trying to figure out exactly how we would continue to worship God through services at Loves. And I thank so many people for their help. I thank you for the time that I've spent there, and I know that God has many wonderful, exciting plans for Loves United Methodist Church. So I wish you well, and may God be with you and bless you and keep you.
Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send?